All right, so we went through assistive and resistive. We went through posture loading for keeping a tall running position. Next one is anti-rotation. Anybody who does any sprinting or teamwork with speed athletes knows that a lot of athletes, for whatever reason, especially when they're tired, and this also applies to like Ironman distance, triathlon, endurance athletes, get a lot of rotation through the core. So how do we keep the core stable? Again, assistive and resistive loading. So the assistive position for anti-rotation is to take the loads and center them at the core. What happens, because it's on the trunk, you need a couple of pieces, usually somewhere between the range of 300 to 600 grams on each side. And what we would do here, if you think of what's happened now, that arrow's pointing in, which what it means right now is it's stopping rotation. It's pushing force to the middle. It's stabilizing. You now have the majority of load at the center of the core. And when an athlete runs with this position, they'll come back and they'll say, wow, it's so easy to remain stable. Even with arms pumping left and right, even with legs pumping left and right, they'll say, I feel so stable. But remember, that's just for them to be aware of what stability feels like. Because a lot of people that rotate a lot, they're not even aware of it. Whether it's out of the blocks, whether it's after the ball leaves their feet. So this position creates stability, but they're not going to compete with the load here. Again, this is assistive because the load is creating the stability through the center of the core. So if you have an athlete who doesn't even know what good stability feels like, load them up with an assistive pattern, let them go for their runs, they will immediately come back and say, Coach, I know what you mean about stability. And once that load comes off, what you want to think about then is, can they maintain that on their own? So have them, like I said, this stuff bulletproof. Now, can they, so once you take that load off, can they show you that they can hold or maintain good form without the load there? If they can maintain good form without the load there, then you realize it was an awareness, it was a proprioception issue. You might not need to do the resistive pattern. But if you notice they're still weak, we really need to work that core to stop anti-rotation. Then we go, as always, assistive is here, so the resistive pattern has to be here. Now we get these arrows to the outside of the body. You do the same thing on both sides. And what you could see now is that arrow's pointing in the direction that weight's going to pull. So every time that arm drives, that weight is going to rip that body to the side, rip that body to the side. And as they pump through their pattern, that load is going to severely cause centrifugal force and rotation. Now that athlete is going to struggle. While they're sprinting, they're going to struggle with a lot of rotation, right? Boom, boom, boom. And they have to now use their core at high speed, on the track, on the field, with the ball, whatever it is, in specific running technique to stabilize the body. Very simple pattern again. Assistive is on the inside, creates control and balance through the core. Resistive is torquing it to the outside. It's just like putting two cables out there, but you can't run down the track very easily or with a ball and do it on the field. With the top now, you can put it right into the sport. So that's assistive and resistive loading for anti-rotation of the core. It applies to all speed or running situations. Do you think we've got the weight in the right position? Does it feel like it's making you focus on not rotating? How does it feel?
Yeah, it works.
It works. Yeah. But what do you feel like exactly?
When I want to rotate this, I can feel the weight.
It's pulling you back,
yeah.
Or it's working? Okay, cool. And it's just enough to be making you work a little harder too?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So you want to keep it in this position, you think?
Yeah.
All right. So what we did is we staggered the load even here and a little bit more to the rear, specifically for that counter rotation. So